Here we are, folks, in the heart of America, where the leaves turn and the nights grow long. But in one quiet town, the darkness hides something more than just the absence of light. We're talking about a place where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, where the laws of physics are just polite suggestions, and where the line between living and the other side gets blurred. Imagine, if you will, a family, just like yours or mine, living in a house on a street so unremarkable, you'd never guess the horrors it would witness. This isn't your typical ghost story. No, sir. This is about when the police, the priests, and the skeptics all came knocking, not for a crime, but for something that defies explanation. A tale of objects flying, of screams in the night, and of a family caught in the eye of a paranormal storm. So buckle up, because we're about to dive into one of the most documented hauntings in American history, where the truth is stranger than fiction. Let's get into it. In the quiet town of Bridgeport, Connecticut, nestled in the heart of New England, there lies a tale so chilling, so steeped in the inexplicable, that it could have been ripped from the pages of a horror novel. We're talking about the Bridgeport Poltergeist, an event that unfolded in the mid-1970s on a seemingly ordinary street named Lindley, where ordinary folks encountered the extraordinary. The Gooden family was just like any other, living in a modest home until their lives were turned upside down by forces beyond their understanding. It all started with noises, the kind that make you sit up in bed at night, questioning whether it was just the house settling or something else, something darker. But soon, the disturbances escalated beyond mere sounds. Objects began moving of their own accord. A crucifix flew off the wall, not just falling, but flying, as if propelled by an invisible, malevolent hand. The family's adopted daughter, Marcia, became the epicenter of this paranormal maelstrom. At first, they thought it was just teenage antics, pranks perhaps, but no prank could account for the furniture that danced across the room, for the knives that hurled themselves through the air. The Goodens weren't alone. Neighbors heard the commotion, saw the spectacle, and knew this was no ordinary teenage rebellion. Word spread like wildfire, and soon the local police were at the door, not because of a burglary or domestic squabble, but to witness the unbelievable. Officers, men of law and reason, stood dumbfounded as they saw chairs lift off the ground, tables shake, and a spectacle of chaos unfold before their eyes. They filed reports not because they understood what they saw, but because they couldn't deny what they had witnessed. The media caught wind of this, and suddenly, Lindley Street was no longer just another address, but a beacon for the curious and the skeptical. News crews with their cameras and lights turned the haunting into a spectacle, but even the glare of publicity couldn't dispel the shadows that seemed to cling to the Gooden home. And of course, Ed and Lorraine Warren, those famous paranormal investigators whose names are synonymous with the eerie and the uncanny, were drawn to Bridgeport like moths to a flame. They came not just with their tools and their theories, but with an open mind to face what they believed was one of the most intense poltergeist cases they'd ever encountered. Their investigation was thorough, documenting each inexplicable event with the gravity of scientists in a lab rather than thrill seekers at a carnival. But the poltergeist seemed to have a personality, a viciousness. It wasn't just about moving objects, it was about terror. There were reports of bites, of scratches appearing on skin without any visible cause. The atmosphere in the house was charged, thick with a sense of dread that even the sunniest day couldn't dissipate. The Goodens, understandably, were at their wits' end. They tried everything from priests to psychics, each offering their own brand of salvation or understanding. The Catholic Church was involved, bringing in exorcists to deal with what they might have considered demonic activity. But the hauntings persisted, relentless and cruel. One of the most harrowing aspects was the sheer volume of witnesses. It wasn't just the family. Neighbors, police, media, and investigators all saw with their own eyes the impossible. This wasn't a story that could be dismissed as a family's shared delusion. It was a community's nightmare, a puzzle of paranormal activity that seemed to defy every explanation. As weeks turned into months, the activity didn't wane, but shifted, perhaps growing bored or seeking new ways to unsettle. Some speculated that the poltergeist was feeding off the attention, thriving on the energy of disbelief and fear. In the end, like all stories of this nature, there was a resolution, though not one that came with clear answers. The activity eventually subsided, whether due to the interventions, the passage of time, or perhaps the poltergeist simply moving on. The Goodens left the house, seeking peace elsewhere, leaving behind a legend that would linger in the minds of Bridgeport residents and beyond. The house on Lindley Street became more than just a home. It was a cautionary tale, a reminder that sometimes the world isn't as rational as we like to believe. Today, if you walk down that street, you might feel a chill, not from the weather, but from the echoes of a time when the line between the seen and the unseen was blurred, when the Goodens and all of Bridgeport became part of a story that, in its terror, is as real as the ground you stand on. Now, the involvement of the police and the Warrens brought a lot of attention to this case. Do you think publicity like this can make hauntings worse or better? What do you think could be the real cause between such intense poltergeist activity? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Until next time, stay spooky.